What's going on, everybody? It's another Al Gattulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Are you handling the cold okay? It has just been brutal here for a good week plus, and it doesn't feel like it's getting any better, and that is not a good thing. I am certainly not happy about that. Anybody that listens to this program knows I am not a fan of sub-freezing temperatures. 40 degrees I can handle. After that, I'm done with it. Coming up in 20 minutes. First up, Cat Hess, head brewer for Wynkoop Brewing in Colorado, is going to join me to talk about the Day of Dark event that is coming up next weekend. Day of Darks? I think it's Day of Darks. That's coming up next weekend. Then Ann Riley, the executive director of the New York City Brewers Guild, is going to join me to finish the show as New York City Beer Week kicks off February 21st at the Brooklyn Monarch. And that is going to be a lot of fun. New venue, some new things happening. We'll get into all of it with Ann, a little bit later in the show. But the first interview comes your way with Cat Hess in just about 20 minutes from now. I'm working from a technological disadvantage. My headphone amp is not working properly, so I'm getting a lot of static in my headphones. So it's causing me to overcompensate, and it's a real pain in the rear end. But you don't really need to know that because you can't hear it at all. Anyway, speaking of anniversaries and celebrations and things of that nature, Other Half is turning 12, and they're celebrating big. They are doing this on Saturday, February 7th, so that's this coming Saturday. Guest taps from our Collab Week friends, a vinyl DJ from 1 to 5 p.m., surprise Magnum pours, a 4 p.m. raffle, and a 4:30 p.m. piñata. The OG tap room will be pouring anniversary beers with food available as well. Open to the public. Come celebrate with them. It's at the Other Half on Center Street in Brooklyn from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday, February 7th. Jersey Girl Brewing is turning 10 in April. So leading up to the anniversary, they're bringing back limited releases of their most popular 10% beers. Now, they're while they last and limited to pours at the brewery. So it's not stuff that you can take home with you. They released the Nog back in December, the Imperial Cream Ale. In this month, they did their Wake Up and Smell the Coffee Breakfast Stout. In February, it's Queen Gambrinus, a watermelon, pineapple, mango-infused King Gambrinus. In March, it's Rasputin's Revenge, a Russian Imperial Stout. And then on April 15th, Jersey Girl Brewing will be releasing their 10th anniversary beer. So kudos to Chuck and his crew at Jersey Girl for 10 years in brewing. We'll get him back on the program before the 10th anniversary. Love talking with Chuck. He's always a fountain of information, and I always have a good time with Chuck. Strong Rope, the Cask-versary is just under a week away. So if you're looking for something, if you're looking for more things to do in Brooklyn, if you want to hit the Other Half celebration, have a couple of pours there, and then jump over to Strong Rope. This is their guest brewery lineup for their 10th annual all-cask event that's taking place from noon to 9 p.m. at their Red Hook Tap Room this coming Saturday, February 7th. So Eckhart Beer will be there, Brooklyn Brewery, Other Half, Old Glenham Brewery, KCBC Beer, Gun Hill, Fifth Hammer, Strange Bird, Endless Life Brooklyn, Rockaway Brewing Company, Finback, and Killsborough. VIP package is still available, but in very limited quantity. In fact, by the time you hear this, it might already be sold out. StrongRopeBrewery.com for tickets, exclusive merch, unlimited pours, and a 4-pack of our anniversary Golden Ale. That's the VIP ticket. Tickets in advance are available and include 5 5-ounce pours at $22, 5 10-ounce pours at $32. If you do the VIP package, if there's anything left, it's $85. You get unlimited 10-ounce pours of cask beer, a commemorative 10-ounce glass, a 4-pack of their 10th anniversary Golden Ale, a branded tote bag as well. Tickets will be available at the door the day of the event. Casks will be tapped at noon. Come early to try them all. So that's, again, this coming Saturday. So a lot of good stuff in Brooklyn. I'm actually going to be in Brooklyn next Saturday, but I'll be at Michael's of Brooklyn having dinner with dear friends who have never been to Michael's of Brooklyn and my wife. We're going to go as a foursome and enjoy some fantastic Italian food. Michael's of Brooklyn, of course, a sponsor of the Al Gattulo Craft Beer Cast. It's the only jarred sauce that you can get shipped anywhere in the United States of America, and they make the sauce right there at the restaurant. You want to talk about a time warp? You want to go back in time? You walk into Michael's of Brooklyn, it feels like you're in the 70s again, but the food is definitely old school, folks. You don't want to miss going to Michael's of Brooklyn. The veal chop, the veal smash chop, unbelievable. They have so many good things. It's, can't beat it. Brewdog USA has closed 2 more tap rooms, this time in Ohio. Short North and Franklinton locations both opened in 2018. They are now closed. Brewdog also closed their Cincinnati location in the state last summer. So Brewdog not doing that well with their tap rooms. You wonder what's going to happen with them. The Big Brew Fest, Big Brew Beer Fest that was supposed to have their 15th anniversary with my dear friend Allison. It was supposed to return to the Morristown Armory on Saturday, March 7th. For its 15th anniversary, it has now been canceled due to low ticket sales. If you did purchase tickets already, they will be refunded to you at the point of purchase. It's a shame. On next week's program, we're going to talk more about this. Why is it that New Jersey beer fests don't seem to be doing well? And to be honest, nationwide, they're not doing that well. But I want to know why, in this particular instance, why New Jersey beer fests are not doing well. I posted something on Reddit about a week or so ago. People have commented. I'm going to sort of aggregate the comments and read them to you. And a lot of them I definitely agree with. I think part of the reason why Big Brew was canceled, there's another event going on that day in Trenton. So what do? You pick one or the other. One's in North Jersey and Morristown, the other one's down in Trenton. You have to choose. And if you're coming from the south, you're going to want to go to the one that's closer as opposed to driving all the way up north. That's just me. That's just one opinion. There's a lot of others. We'll get into that on next week's program. Angry Eric is having their 12th anniversary celebration. That's taking place Valentine's Day weekend, February 13th, 14th, and 15th. Live music, food trucks, anniversary brews, new 12th anniversary pint glass, other merchandise, so much more. That's taking place the whole weekend, starting on February 13th at Angry Eric. On Saturday, February 21st, AleSmith will be doing coffee and beer. It's their 3rd year of coffee and beer, featuring new collabs, new coffees, coffee sampling, local food, live music, a lot more at the AleSmith Tasting Room from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, February 21st. Keeping it in San Diego, Latitude Brewing, which is the umbrella that includes Latitude 33 Thorn Brewing, they've now acquired the House of Mason brand platform. That's Mason Ale Works, Epic Brewing, Second Chance Beer, Castellium Ciders, Old Harbor Distilling, and Swell Soda. The deal closed on December 31st of last year. Financial terms were not disclosed. They want to try and, I guess they're trying to become sort of a conglomerate or whatever. But as Latitude President Mike Ingram said in the press release, he said, this acquisition is about building a diverse beverage platform, not just adding brands. So you've got a distillery, you've got a soda, you've got all different types of things here. The platform's brands operate at least 5 tap rooms across San Diego, Mason Ale Works in Barrio Logan, Thorn in North Park, Epic in Point Loma, beautiful spot in Point Loma, by the way, Old Harbor in downtown, Latitude 33 at Delmar Highlands Town Center. New spaces will be sought with intention and guided by unit economics and brand fit, according to the release. That information also coming from San Diego Beer News, a fantastic news source. And then finally, this was at a beer, wine, and spirit summit in Coronado, California. And this is from a hotel group that says draft beer is not moving the way it used to. And so at the Hyatt hotels, they're going to limit the draft choices. Part of the allure of going to some of these hotels with the fact that they had well-stocked bars and good beer and this and that and whatever, and, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately, we're seeing a decline in drinking. So it's interesting. They're saying that the Hyatt hotel chain has said it is not worth the investment to put draft systems into new locations. They do say, though, what's recording positive trends in the hospitality sector. Mexican imports, particularly Modelo, half-size beers, and light and sessional beers, or things that are crushable. So no longer is the big boozy beer popular in these hospitality places. They want to sell beers that are more crushable, that people, while they're sitting out in the sun and enjoying themselves, they can have a lighter beer and maybe drink a few more. Maybe that's where the hotel chain gets a little bit more money. I know it's a little in the weeds there, but, again, there's trends and changes in drinking, cannabis, THC drinks, CBD drinks. All of these things are factors in what's going on in the beer space. So some interesting stuff. But we're going to dive more into the festival stuff on next week's program. When we come back after a short break, though, we've got a lot of news. Stone Brewing has a big anniversary celebration coming up. The Firestone Walker Invitational we talked about. But not only that, the Great American Beer Fest is making changes. You're going to want to listen to all of that. Coming up next on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. We got a great show for you tonight. I know I already mentioned it, but we do. Kat Hess, head brewer for Wynkoop Brewing in Colorado. She's going to join me in just about 10 minutes. She's going to talk about the Day of Dark event that's coming up this coming weekend. Coming up the weekend of, I guess, what is it, the 7th, 8th, whatever, Super Bowl weekend, let's put it that way. And then Ann Riley, the executive director of the New York City Brewers Guild, is going to join me to finish off the show as New York City Beer Week kicks off on February the 21st at the Brooklyn Monarch. Lots of good things. It all gets started in just about 10 minutes from now. Departed Souls Brewing, our good friend Brian Kulbacki, he is now serving his beer in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. And as he says, the loading dock may have a little snow on it, but that won't stop us from spreading our wings and heading south. After months of jumping through hoops and piles of paperwork, we're stoked to announce the new partnership with Imbibe Advantage. I guess that's the name of the distributor, to bring good BIPA and Ego is not your amigo to these 3 new states. Gluten-free beer options will be available to bars, restaurants, and liquor stores for all your celiac-friendly craft beer needs. We can't wait to share these 2 award-winning gluten-free beers with the community so that everyone can enjoy the camaraderie that the beer scene brings. So kudos to Brian. That's awesome. Good news there. Love that. So if you're looking for gluten-free beer in those states, which will be North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee, you'll be able to get some Departed Souls very, very soon. Stone Brewing, now, they're celebrating 30 years this year. And they helped to fuel that craft beer revolution that has defined generations of beer fanatics. So throughout this year, Stone Brewing is celebrating its passion for beer with sweepstakes, fan-favorite throwbacks, collaborations, and limited-time packaging. So the year kicks off by spotlighting the iconic brewery's flagship Stone IPA, limited-time gold packaging, and a 30th anniversary sweepstakes. If you enter, grand prize winners will be selected in May and September for a trip to San Diego, including behind-the-scenes brewery experiences with Stone Brewers and meals at both Stone Brewing World Bistro and Gardens locations. I've been to both. The food is phenomenal. They even have beers there that you can't get anywhere else. Additional first-place winners will be selected to receive a merchandise bundle valued at $500. If you go to Stone Brewing's Instagram page, their Facebook page, or just go to stonebrewing.com, you'll find details on how to enter the contest. They are, let's see here, they're doing a major San Diego collab coming to the market in 16-ounce six-packs this summer. In addition to collaboration brews, Stone is going to rebrew classics, release archive beers packaged in small quantities and available only at Stone Brewing locations. They're going to be re-releasing Stone Sublimely Self-Righteous IPA. That's a great IPA. Stone Runation IPA, archive releases of Stone's Imperial Stout, Stone Old Guardian Barley Wine, and a lot more. They are doing Stone Mocha IPA and the brewery's very first beer, Stone Pale Ale. Those will be draft-only releases. This is pretty cool. They're doing a lot of cool stuff for their 30th anniversary celebration. They will also be having a party slated for late summer. It's a festival delivering invitational guests, new innovations, Stone classics, entertainment, and a price that harkens back to the days of 1996. Again, follow along at Stone Brewing on Instagram. Weekly throwback content, first-to-know beer release details, and surprises to come all year long. I'm hoping that I can make it to the Stone Brewing event this summer. We'll see. Trogs has released Daylight Chaser. It's a dark IPA that joins the brewery's lineup of seasonally rotated beers alongside Field Study, Leaf Seeker, and Blizzard of Hops. This clocks in at 6.3% ABV. Daylight Chaser yearns for the warm glow of longer days ahead and is a sign that the equinox is near. It's available on draft and in 12-ounce bottles and cans alongside the brewery's entire distribution footprint. Our friends from WeldWorks Brewing were awarded 2 gold medals, 2 silver medals, and earned top honors as Mid-Sized Brewery of the Year at the 2026 Colorado Brewers Cup competition presented by the Colorado Brewers Guild, the nonprofit trade association with the mission to promote, protect, and propel independent craft breweries in the state of craft beer through advocacy, community education, and public awareness. They were recognized as the Mid-Sized Brewery of the Year, outpacing all other competing breweries, producing over 675 barrels annually. These WeldWorks first medals at the Colorado's Brewers Cup, which is in its second iteration of the annual competition, drew nearly 800 entries from 120 Colorado breweries. Kudos to WeldWorks for that, for those accolades. And then finally, I buried the lead, sort of. The Great American Beer Festival, I mentioned this before in the first break, but they've announced this week they are moving the festival from the Colorado Convention Center to Denver's Levitt Pavilion this year, as the 2-day October event will take place outdoors. First time that the event in its modern form will be under the open skies, something, of course, that is always risky in the fall in Denver. The goal is to blend GABF's legendary beer lineup with live music and more immersive festival experience, the organization said in a statement. Taking the festival outdoors lets us reimagine what's possible, and we're excited to bring fresh energy to the festival and provide an experience that feels uniquely Colorado, said Ann Oberchain, Vice President of Marketing and Communications of the Brewers Association. It isn't just a venue change for us, it's an evolution. We've listened to our attendees. We're creating an outdoor festival that invites people to explore, discover, and celebrate craft beer in a completely new way, one that's all about gathering your friends, finding your spot on the lawn, and enjoying great beer and good times together. They also said the festival will be reduced to 2 sessions over 2 days, down from 4 sessions over 3 days a few years ago. This year's event, October 10th and 11th from noon to 4 p.m., rather than October 8th through 10th that had been previously announced. Tickets will go on sale in June. Attending the festival will cost $60 this year. That's down from $85 to $95 last year. This is interesting. It's run by the city of Denver. This is a risk. If it rains or snows, you're kind of screwed. But I applaud them for listening and making a change. I would love to go. I don't know if I don't know if I'll be able to get out there, but I think this is a really cool thing that they're doing. Good for them. Change may be good. We'll see. John Hall had a piece written on this and all about beer, and you definitely want to check it out. It is definitely worth the read. When we come back after a short break, Kat Hess, the head brewer for Wynkoop Brewing in Colorado, will join me. This is the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. All right, welcome back to the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. We are almost done with the month of January. Can you believe it? We're heading into February. And, folks, it has been cold here in the Northeast. Too cold for my liking. I'm just counting the days down to vacation. Hopefully, at the end of February, I'll be on a plane somewhere and getting warm, and that's always good. I do enjoy that. My next guest, though, she is the head brewer at a great brewery in downtown Denver, Colorado. They have an awesome event that is taking place on Saturday, February 7th from noon to 3 p.m. local time, and it helps out a great organization that helps for men's mental health, cancer screenings, all kinds of different things. We're going to get into that in just a moment. For more info on the brewery, just head over to Wynkoop, WYNKOOP.com. Let me welcome to the Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer for the first time, Kat Hess. Kat, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Al. How are you?
I'm great. Kat, I have to tell you, I love a good dark beer, and you guys are doing this this event that is it's titled, easy for me to say, The Day of Darks. So I love this. Whether it's a stout porter or a dark lager, I love them all. What is the origin story behind this event?
Well, so it's kind of fun. In Denver, there is this parade called Parade of Lights, and it kicks off all of the holiday lights in the downtown area. And back, I would say about 15 years ago now, this Day of Darks was actually done the day before that festival in December. So you would start off the weekend with Day of Darks, drink a bunch of dark beer. Then the next day, everything would be lit up, all Christmas lights, really awesome. And then we said, hey, we have this dark beer thing. It's awesome. Stout Month is in February, let's kind of rope all that together. So about, I want to say like 8 or 9 years ago, we moved that to February to kick off Stout Month.
I love it. I love it. Now, proceeds for the event benefit Movember, which is to help out men's mental health, suicide prevention, and more. You can visit MOVEMBER.com for more information. Kat, why is it so important to spotlight these things for men?
I feel like you don't hear a lot, especially when it comes to mental health for men. You don't hear a lot about that in the news. People aren't talking about that. And men suffer with that just like women do. And I think it's really important for them to know that there are resources out there. There are people that care. There are people that want to help them through those tough times.
Right.
Mental health doesn't, affects all genders. And, people should know that there are those resources that help out there for them.
It's 100% right. And you're right. I think there isn't enough of a spotlight that is put on mental health, whether it's men or women. I think it's something that it should always be in the conversation. And if this is a way to help people to, get that, that checkup, or just to be able to talk to somebody because maybe they're going through some stuff and they're sort of internalizing it and they don't want to let it out there. It is always important to put a spotlight on this, and sort of, even though it is a day of dark, we're trying to let the light in, which I think is kind of cool. We're talking with head brewer Kat Hess from Wynkoop Brewing. The Day of Darks 2026 event takes place on Saturday, February 7th from noon to 3 p.m. local time. For more info on the brewery and to purchase tickets, which are just $50 for unlimited samples, just go to Wynkoop, WYNKOOP.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. So, Kat, how did you get into the brewing business? Was brewing beer something that you always wanted to do at a young age, or did you fall into it by accident?
I kind of fell into it by accident. I started by drinking a lot of beer when my husband and I were living in Boston, and then we moved out to Colorado for our jobs and to be closer to his family, and I started home brewing, and I thought, hey, this is really fun. I always joked growing up that I wanted to be a chemist, and I went to school for business, and when I started homebrewing, I was like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of chemistry, a lot of math involved. I really like this. And was a Mug Club member at my local brewery, heard they had an opening at their back of house, and kind of cornered the owner and said, you should hire me. And he said, hey, do you want to clean kegs part-time? And I was like, well, that's my entry in.
Right.
And then I honestly just worked my way up from cleaning kegs part-time, candy vine, cellaring, wound up being the lead brewer there. And then I was very fortunate to get a scholarship from the Michael Jackson Foundation that Garrett Oliver heads up to go to brewing school. So at the end of 2023, I went to Siebel for 6 weeks in Chicago, and Dumans in Munich, Germany for 6 weeks. And through that, I got my current job with Wynkoop.
All right. So obviously that journey to Germany helped to get one of your favorite styles of beer that you like, a Munich Helles. As the other one, as I understand it from reading on the website, you're into you love French saisons. Both of those styles seem light years apart. So, because usually it's I like this particular type or that particular type, but these are two styles that are again light years apart. How did you fall in love with both of these styles of beer?
Well, the Helles, honestly, that's what I drank so much when I was over in Germany, and it was just so easy, so clean, so approachable. But there's just a lot of technicality that goes into brewing a style of beer like that. There's really nothing to hide behind. So you got to do it really well. And then French saisons, I don't know. I've always just kind of had a thing for like peppery flavors. I like spicy beers and spicy foods, but also things that showcase just like the black pepper. And I remember the first time I had a French saison, I just was like blown away that you could get these flavors out of a beer because it was so different from anything else that I'd ever had. I also really like fruit in beers, and I like when you can taste the base beer with the fruit behind it. And I feel like the French saison in particular lends itself really well to that fun play between the funkiness of the fruit and that farmhousey black peppery of the yeast.
We're talking with head brewer Kat Hess from Wynkoop Brewing. The Day of Darks 2026 event takes place on Saturday, February 7th from noon to 3 p.m. local time. Tickets are just $50. You get unlimited samples. For all the information, Wynkoop, WYNKOOP.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Kat, as a brewer, when you're brewing beers, I've asked this question to a number of people before, and a lot have given me a similar answer, and I'm wondering, I suspect that you might give me the same as well. But when you're brewing a beer, are you thinking about it in terms of food that you've eaten, that you've recently experienced, that you've said, I like this, I want to turn it into a beer?
Sometimes, yeah, definitely. Food is a great inspiration for beer. Also, sometimes I might just go out and be like, wow, I really like how that brewery did this, or wow, that's really interesting. Let's see if we can play with that ingredient or that flavor compound, but just through the traditional materials that you put in beer. And I think it's really fun to kind of figure that out.
And did somebody, now you said you had fallen in love with beer, you and your husband, drank a bunch of beer in Boston and stuff. Did anybody buy you a home brewing kit as a gift for like a Christmas thing or a birthday thing? Or did you just say, you know what, I want to try and figure out the science behind this and just go ahead and do it?
So I actually bought a home brew kit for my husband for Christmas. And then I was the one that wound up using it.
That's great. That's great. We're getting back to the Day of Darks event. There's a lot of breweries that are going to be attending the event. There's a whole list on the website. Is there any brewery that is coming whose dark beer that you're looking forward to drinking?
Ooh, I would say it's probably a toss-up between River North Brewing and Verboten Brewing. Both of them are very widely regarded as excellent dark beer, barrel-aged beer breweries. Won a bunch of awards for them. I'm always excited to see what they bring to the table because you never know what you're going to get from them, and it's always fantastic.
And what beers will Wynkoop be offering at the event on Saturday, February 7th?
So we've got a couple of different. Obviously, our staple Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout. Yes, it is made with Rocky Mountain oysters. We also brought back our B3K, which is our Schwartz beer. We haven't had that for a couple of years, so very happy with how that turned out. We have a barley wine. We'll be debuting a barrel-aged barley wine. That will come out actually on Day of Dark. So everybody that's attending, they get the first taste of that.
Nice.
And we also have an Imperial Honey Brown. And let me think of what else. Oh, our English Brown Sour Porter.
Oh,
so
very
a couple of
cool.
different dark beer options from lower ABV all the way up to about 10%.
I love it. We're talking with head brewer Kat Hess. She's from Wynkoop Brewing. The Day of Darks 2026 event takes place on Saturday, February 7th, noon to 3 p.m. local time. Tickets are just $50, and you get unlimited samples to go with that. Just check out Wynkoop, WYNKOOP.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Kat, are you loving the fact that the lager beer has returned? I think since the pandemic, and now we're almost 6 years now since the pandemic, we're seeing such a massive return of lager beer, and I think part of it is because brewers had more time to put things in the kettle, but also I think I don't want to say that the hazy IPA has gone out of style because obviously there's still an audience for it and there's still people that'll go out and buy it, but a lagering beer, even though it takes longer to make, there's something about a lager, crisp, clean. It's a lower ABV. You can drink more of them over a period of time. Are you seeing that where people are demanding more lagers at Wynkoop?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Our top sellers are always our lagers. So we always have a Helles lager. That's one of our flagships. That's usually our 1A seller. We have a Mexican lager. That's our 1B seller. Kind of just depends on the month. I did a couple of collabs with a local brewery here in town, Monolith Brewing. We've done Czech pills, German pills. Anytime that those are on, those are very well received. We did 2 different New Zealand pilsners this past summer that people loved. So I, for one, am super excited because I love lagers. Right. So it makes me happy that it's like, okay, I could devote the time and the expertise to crafting this, and people are going to drink it and are going to be excited about it.
Yeah, because, understandably, you can crank out a decent IPA in about 3 weeks, and obviously that turns the tank over faster, but when you're making a lager, it's got to sit there for at least, 8 weeks to really ferment and get moving, and so if you don't have the tank space for it, and again, it's got to be perfect. You can't hide it with anything. So I get the reason why some people might not want to do that, but I love the fact that it's become a more adopted style now for people. People are seeking them out, and they're going after it with a lot more vim and vigor than they did, let's say, 6 years ago. So last question from me, Kat, as I was reading on the bio on the Wynkoop website. I have watched breweries do trivia night, music, and all these things in the 10 years that I've been doing this show. But recently, Dungeons and Dragons night seems to have taken center stage. I've seen this in a number of breweries in New Jersey where I live and obviously elsewhere. I was a huge D&D guy as a middle school student, and I sort of got away from it, years later. But I read that you're a big D&D fan. Did that start as a kid or as an adult?
As an adult. So one of my best friends in the brewing industry is a DM.
Okay.
And he was bugging me for like 2 years. Like, you got to play. You'd really like it because I love playing video games. I was like, okay, fine. And my husband's like, no, really, we should try this out. So we've been playing with the same group for about 4 years. It has been super fun. And then actually this year, we are working with a local company called Dungeons and Drafts. And they host one-shot D&D events all throughout the city, and we signed up to be one of the breweries that they host at. So, as what, I'm super excited about that.
That's awesome. Oh, that's a great idea. I mean, I remember as a kid, I used to go to school early, and my friends used to make fun of me. They're like, why are you going to school early? I'm like, no, because we get the library, we get to play, and, whatever, this and that.
I love it.
12, 13 years old. I never got into it
so
again. Yeah, I never got into it again as an adult. I mean, I understand the fixation on it and the whole thing, and that's great. And I would love to, maybe pair up with a couple people maybe one of these days and do something. But I love the fact that you and your husband are doing it and other people have sort of, hey, let's do this, and you do it as a weekly thing. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Now, what kind of character are you in the Dungeons & Dragons world?
So I am a rogue human.
Okay.
So I'm very good at stealing things, very sneaky, and I'm usually the one that gets our group into the most trouble.
Oh, there you go. I love it. My guest has been head brewer Kat Hess. She's from Wynkoop Brewing. The Day of Darks 2026 event takes place on Saturday, February 7th, noon to 3 p.m. local time. There's a whole bunch of breweries that are going to be there. The entire list and to purchase tickets, $50, unlimited samples, Wynkoop, WYNKOOP.com. Kat, thanks so much for joining me. Very much appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate that.
You got it. When we come back after a short break, Ann Riley, the executive director of the New York City Brewers Guild, will join me to finish up the show. This is the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Hope you enjoyed the interview with Kat Hess, the head brewer from Wynkoop Brewing out in Colorado. But we are back in New York right now, and my next guest, she is a frequent guest on the program. She's on here every year talking about this great event with New York City Beer Week. It is back. It's a couple of weeks away. We're obviously in the 1st of February, but in just 20 short days, the kickoff bash with one session takes place Saturday, February 21st at a new location. We'll get into that in just a moment. It's one early session. There's a VIP that starts at 1 p.m. There's a general admission starts at 2 p.m. and it runs until 5:30 p.m. NYCbrewed.com is the website for more information, or if you want, just go on Eventbrite. That's where you can purchase the tickets. Go on Eventbrite and search for NYC Brewed. The tickets will pop up there. Let me welcome back to the program Ann Riley, who is the executive director of the New York City Brewers Guild. Ann, how are you? How are you dealing with the cold?
I'm well, thank you, Al. Thank you for having me on and always helping to promote New York City beer.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, listen, the last few years in Industry City was fantastic. This year, though, there is a new location. The event's going to be held at the Brooklyn Monarch. It's located in Bushwick in Brooklyn at 23 Meadow Street. What are the advantages of having the event in a theater setting, Ann?
So a number of advantages, and we are taking advantage of that. For the VIP hour, we're going to have a live band performing. That's Martin Kelly and the Affinity. And then during the general admission session, the rest of the afternoon, DJ Blessed is going to be spinning tunes for us. She last worked with us the last time we were outside at the Navy Yard for Blocktoberfest. We're excited to have her back as our DJ.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep.
And any other advantages to having it at the theater? I mean, it's just a bigger the configuration is a little bit different, obviously.
Yeah, it's a much different space, and we've had so many of our events the last couple of years have been in Southwest Brooklyn that we thought maybe it's time to bring it back to North Brooklyn because we recognize getting around our lovely city, snow or not, on the weekends can always be a little bit trying. So we thought, all right, we haven't had, like the last time we were up in that area officially for one of our events was Opening Bash 2020 when we were in Greenpoint.
Right. That's right. Now, you're continuing the format of spotlighting New York City beverages and breweries, which made for a fun time last year. I think that was the first time that you had done that in quite some time, which was really cool. And I remember walking in going, it's going to be on the second floor of Industry City. Okay, let's see how this lays out. But the layout I thought was really great. Some of the standouts for me were Eckhart Brewing, the Test, Night Glow, a lot of different things going on. You guys had Chicago style hot dogs. The views were great. But the decision to do New York City beverages and beer I thought was really cool. There were also many different forms of sake, too. Were folks receptive of the different types of beverages at the event?
Yes, and that's one of the reasons we're continuing a similar kind of theme this year. We are going to have approximately 35 New York City breweries, and then we are planning to have approximately a dozen different beverage producers so that you can bring your friends who maybe aren't huge beer fans, and there will be plenty of things for them to drink as well.
Very cool. We're talking with Dan Riley, who's the executive director of the New York City Brewers Guild. The kickoff bash, it has one session. It takes place Saturday, February 21st. A new location, it's the Brooklyn Monarch. That's in Bushwick on 23 Meadow Street. One early session VIP starts at 1 p.m. The general admission starts at 2, and the whole event runs until 5:30. NYCBrewed.com is the website for more information as well as to purchase tickets. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970. The answer, that seems to be the thing, Ann, is that we've seen the Great American Beer Festival do this. We've seen other events do this where they're introducing not just beer and cider, but different beverage options for everyone to make it a little bit more inclusive. And that seems to have a positive effect, doesn't it?
It does. It gives us the opportunity to present New York City beer to people who may not have even heard of it or thought about it, but want to have a fun afternoon with their friends where, they can have everything from, kombucha to coffee to sake to, all kinds of different beverages being offered in one location.
Very cool. And, it's funny, when we were standing online to go in last year, my best friend and I, we met this Australian gentleman who had never heard of the event, and he had just moved to the city with his wife, and I guess his wife was out with the kids. They were doing something, and he was looking, and somehow he came across the event. I don't know if it was a website or whatever. He said, this sounds like a fun idea, and he bought tickets, and we saw him during the event. In fact, he was the one who pointed out where the Test was for me, which was right next to Killsborough, and I completely missed it, which, funny me, because my head is going in 16 different directions. And he said he had the best time ever. It was just so much fun circulating and trying different beverages, and he said, I will definitely be back next year. This was a lot of fun. So that was, just happened to come across it, which was really cool. Now, one of the new things that you've added to this year's event is a Fast Pass option. How can folks go about purchasing one, and what does that allow you to do?
Yeah, so our Fast Pass, that's something we're trying out this year because, as you know, like, for instance, VIP gives you the opportunity to attend the fest before everyone else. You get in. It's the first hour. It's a smaller attendance.
Right.
But often, as, New Yorkers like to do, and not just New Yorkers, pretty much anyone who attends a large event, people like to get online early so that they can, be in there and get the full hours of the time they want to be there or be one of the early attendees. Mm-hmm. But the Fast Pass, that's an additional add-on. If you're on Eventbrite, want to buy a general admission ticket, and let's say you want to show up, at 1:15 and you don't want to be standing behind 200 people, the Fast Pass will allow you to go to the front of the line.
Cool.
Not unlike what they do at amusement parks.
Yeah, it's like a Disney Fast Pass or whatever they're calling it now. I don't know. I spent a ridiculous amount of money last year at Disney just to cut the line for a Star Wars thing, and it was probably the best money that I ever spent because I did not want to stand in the sea of humanity. So that actually worked out for me. So again, if you go on Eventbrite, you can select that option. That will be added to your ticket, and you'll be able to stand right at the front of the line and get in right at 2 o'clock when general admission starts. So that's cool. Now, food options will also be available at the event. Is it food trucks that are going to be parked outside, or they're going to be inside with the breweries?
Yeah, so we're working on a number of different food vendors. Market Price will be back with us, and she's working on a special food option that will be fully available during VIP, and then, whatever is not purchased will be available for general admission. Spices of the Sun is going to be back with us, and she's working on an excellent Caribbean menu.
Cool.
And then Spicy Moon, one of our newer breweries, they focus on vegan Asian-themed food, and at their Bowery location in Manhattan, they are planning to be one of our food vendors, and then we will likely have one more. We're not sure if it's going to be a food truck. We're finalizing that, but just to make sure that there's all kinds of food options for everyone, from very affordable to vegan to seafood to you name it. You can, ideally partake while you're at the fest.
Awesome. And, as we always say, drink responsibly, but also add a little food in there when you're at the event, because that will slow down the absorption of the alcohol. Talking with Ann Riley, who's the executive director of the New York City Brewers Guild. The kickoff bash is Saturday, February 21st. It's one session. It's at the Brooklyn Monarch, a new location in Bushwick, 23 Meadow Street. One early session VIP starts at 1 p.m. The general admission is at 2 p.m., and it goes till 5:30 p.m. NYCBrewed.com is the website for more information, as well as to purchase tickets. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. So, and we're seeing breweries close all over the country. This has been going on for years now, but a few of them now in New York City as well. We've seen places close. Part of it in New York is the rent in New York City proper has to be a big deal for them, with rates skyrocketing and them just saying, look, it's just too much on my bottom line. I can't afford to pay the rent and brew beer at the same time. What is the message that you're giving to members as they voice their concerns to you?
Yeah, that is an ongoing problem, and what also contributes to it is typically when you sign a commercial lease in New York City, it's for a 10-year term,
right.
And that's often when a brewery is literally hitting their best stride, and then they're faced with, as many of our restaurant and bar partners are too, that landlords don't quite understand the industry, and they think, oh, well, you're doing great. Of course I can afford to double your rent.
Right.
So that's something... I, as our guild director, have been working since right around the start of the pandemic, which about 6 years now, with the team at the New York Hospitality Alliance, and the New York Mayor's Office of Nightlife and Small Business Services. So there have been a number of things moving forward to help with this, and we're also hoping a new administration, with their being focused on small businesses, that will help aid. Because as many people might recall, while Brooklyn Brewery, they will be moving to a new space in the new year. They and Brooklyn Bowl about 10 years ago were faced with a similar situation where those two anchors of that neighborhood in Williamsburg were faced with possibly having to leave their locations, not having their leases renewed, and at that time the city stepped in to aid with that. So overall, like I said, it's not just a brewery problem, it's many small businesses face this issue. Absolutely,
and I think what people don't seem to understand sometimes, large cities, et cetera, is that small business is the lifeblood of these cities. And if you sort of neuter that and saying, it doesn't matter, we'll just put a big business or a big box store in there, number one, it takes something away from the neighborhood, but also, two, it just loses the charm, and you've lost, not just one, but a number of small businesses that, by the way, contribute to the tax revenue, not only to the city, but the state of New York as well. Last question from me, and if people want to volunteer for the event on Saturday, February 21st, how can they reach out to you?
So they can go right to our website. There's links there. There's also in our Instagram. I'm regularly reposting, but it lives in our stories as well. We always welcome volunteers, and it's a great opportunity to get to know some of our community. And our volunteers typically go home with a pretty big beer haul.
Nice. My guest has been Ann Riley, the executive director of the New York City Brewers Guild. Saturday, February 21st, Brooklyn Monarch, Bushwick on 23 Meadow Street. If you get in for the VIP session, it starts at 1. If it's general admission, it's 2 o'clock. It goes to 5:30. New York, NYCBrewed.com is the website for more information, as well as to purchase tickets. And as always, thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I will see you on the 21st.
Excellent. Looking forward to having you join us.
You got it. My thanks to everyone involved in the show, as well as my guests, the aforementioned Ann Riley, the executive director of the New York City Brewers Guild, and Kat Hess, head brewer at Wynkoop Brewing. And, of course, last but not least, the great Buddy Watson, or is that Councilman Buddy Watson in upstate New York? And I will be back live on the Joe Piscopo Show Monday at 6 a.m. This has been the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Cheers, everybody.